The basketball ops makeover begins as the Lakers hire former UVA coach Tony Bennett as a draft consultant. Is it a good move? Is it a sign of things to come? That's next.
You are Locked On Lakers, your daily Los Angeles Lakers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks to everybody for making Locked On Lakers your first listen every day, Monday through Friday, sometimes on weekends, even on holidays, and now more than once a day, no matter how or where you get your podcasts, Spotify, Apple. There are others, places probably. Maybe you're one of the 37,000 plus subscribers to the Locked On Lakers YouTube channel. No matter how you do it, you're part of making the Locked On Podcast Network the number one sports podcast network anywhere on this planet or other distant planets. And we thank you for it. I'm Brian Kamenetsky with Andy Kamenetsky. The Lakers, obviously, need to build out the basketball operation. That is something that is a mandate really from new owner Mark Walter. They did make their one of their first high-profile additions to the basketball operations. Former UVA head coach Tony Bennett has been brought on as essentially a draft consultant, and so he is going to be working with the scouts as that department gets built out from the skeleton crew they currently have into something a little bit bigger with the front office. And really, I think if you are looking for an analog, I think most people would say, okay, this is sort of in Jeanie Buss's realm. If you're looking for like who used to do this for the Lakers. So Tony Bennett, a very respected former college coach, tons of success at UVA, sent some players to the NBA despite not having, what you would consider to be a classic powerhouse program. He is now in the fold, Andy, to help with the draft.
Yeah, here's the statement from Rob Pelinka. We are thrilled and honored to welcome Tony as an advisor to the Lakers basketball operations department. As we refine and build out our NBA draft and scouting process, we can think of no better basketball mind than Tony Bennett to have as a resource. Tony's track record of forming culture with high character, high skill, and high IQ players is revered and respected across basketball circles. Tony will be an incredible asset to our basketball leadership, to our scouts, and to our draft department as a whole. We're truly excited. One thing I found interesting about this, because
he's Mana from Charlottesville, Andy.
Yeah, or from the entire state of Virginia, however you want to put it. You got to love a Rob Pelinka press.
I so badly want to get hired by Rob Pelinka just so he'll write something, say something nice to me in a press statement.
But it's interesting when you said that he would basically be serving the Jeanie Buss role. From Dan Wojcicki, the Athletic covers the Lakers, his report, Bennett, a team source, will not be leading the Lakers draft room or scouting. Instead, Bennett's experience in finding players who possess toughness, energy, and IQ will aid the Lakers search as they restock an empty-ish cupboard of young talent. Empty-ish doing a lot of work there. that ish is getting a hernia. And I think it's important.
That's a good clarification.
So people understand, like Tony Bennett was not hired, it appears, to run the scouting department or necessarily be a scout or anything like that.
Right. What I meant, but I should have been more careful with that. He's in that realm of,
right,
the people who are going to be responsible for helping to evaluate the draft talent. But you're correct. That is, it's perhaps an overstatement, but. Yeah,
well, it seems like in a lot of ways, and I think this is important just because it also reflects the Dodgers model, which we've seen, and all indications are there's going to be a lot of mirroring what they do over there with Mark Walter as the main face for both in the ownership, and Farhan Zaidi and Andrew Friedman being brought over as advisors to Rob Pelinka as Rob builds out or helps build out the front office, as opposed to Andrew Friedman and Farhan Zaidi being brought on as basketball minds, which there's no indication that's going to be the case.
There's a way in which this follows the Dodgers model that I think is something that Lakers fans will really, really like. And there's a way that this follows the Dodgers model that I think will be perhaps disappointing to people. And I will explain both of those things momentarily.
After telling you that Locked On Lakers is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy Drink, welcome to the 5 Hour Energy Flavor Draft. We're looking at every aspect of the draft like Tony Bennett would to let you know which tasty flavors are the best, which ones might be sleepers. The board's set, the flavors are ready, and only one can take the top spot. 5 Hour Energy has a wide variety of flavors. 5 Hour Energy has a wide variety of flavors, something for everyone with that zero sugar boost. And the flavor I'm drafting, peach mango, the ripe peach flavor on that first sip, the mango adding tropical depth and sweetness. It's slightly richer than some of the citrus flavors, but it comes out really balanced. I would add a little lime to it, get a little Frank Ocean vibe going, peaches, mango, and lime, a little sweet life. But I am open, keeping my eye on watermelon and blue raspberry. Nice sleepers, but in the end, peach mango, my draftee. Find the new favorite flavor, yours, of 5 Hour Energy shots, available online at 5 Hour Energy or Amazon.
Locked On Lakers also brought to you by Game Time. There's nothing like being in an NBA arena, the crowd, the energy, the moment. Getting tickets, that has not always been so simple. That's why Game Time has become the go-to app for scoring tickets fast without the hassle. Puts the advantage back where it belongs with the fans. In our house, we use Game Time all the time for soccer games. Usually we go, whether it's LAFC or Angel City. And what we love I love the all-in pricing up front because I know exactly what I'm going to be paying. No surprises there. Kids love it because they can literally choose what view they want of the field with the view from the seat feature and all that stuff. So it's a great way to get yourself into a building. We've also used it for Disney on Ice. So it's not just for sporting events. Take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app today. Create an account. Use the code LOCKED ON for $20 off your first purchase. That's LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. And remember, it's gametime.co, not .com.
Finally, Locked On Lakers is brought to you by Indeed. You got workplace chaos, deadlines stacking up, the inbox is overflowing, and there's still a position that you got to fill. And when the pressure's on and you need the right hire, this is a job for sponsored jobs. Indeed, sponsored jobs helps you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for with skills, experience, and the right location. So you're not just hoping the right candidate magically stumbles across your post. Here's a stat that says it all. In the minute that I'm going to be talking with you, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. Spend less time searching, more time actually interviewing candidates who check all the boxes. It's less stress, it's less time, and more results. When you need the right person to cut through the chaos, this is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. Listeners of the show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help your job get the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now. Support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need a hire? This is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs.
Okay, so we'll start with the parts that people will like, Andy. Is Tony Bennett going to be a great draft consultant? I have no idea. He's sent guys to the NBA, not all of whom are stars, Sam Hauser types and stuff like that, among the recent UVA guys from that program who've been in the NBA. So he understands not just star players, but what kinds of players can fit roles, which is important because most of your players that you draft, whether you take them in the first round, second round, or wherever, are not going to be stars. They're not drafted to be stars. They're drafted to fit a certain role that you need on that team. He is a really well-respected, very smart basketball guy who I assume at the very least will be able to provide sound advice to Rob Pelinka. Is he? He's never. I don't think he's ever done this before, so I don't know exactly if he's brilliant or not. But he's a well-respected guy. This is the Dodgers model: go find smart people and pay them to do something for you that brings that smartness into your organization. The Dodgers had, like, when they first started, had like 13 general managers. It was like, if you were, unemployed or available and the Dodgers would throw money at you to be part of the room with Andrew Friedman in it. And this is straight out of that playbook. And we'll see how they continue to expand it. Again, more reporting on Wednesday that this is part of the beginning of the process of the Lakers really building out that front office. So in that respect, it absolutely is the part of the Dodgers model that fans want to see.
It's also really quick, just so people are aware, he did coach at the college level Klay Thompson and Trey Murphy III. So he has had some time around some players who've ended up more high profile. DeAndre Hunter was one of his recent guys as well. One of the things that I love about this as a hire in terms of finding who they've identified as smart minds, bringing them in, giving them this sort of role, checks one of the boxes that I've wanted to see. No ties to the Lakers whatsoever. Like the closest thing I could find to a Laker tie for Tony Bennett, for people unaware, he played in the league for 3 years with the Hornets. He spent one season with J.R. Reed, who was part of the trade that sent Eddie Jones and Eldon Campbell to Charlotte and brought J.R. Reed and Glenn Rice to the Lakers. That's the closest thing I could find to the Lakers stuff.
I mean, I know you really want him to stay away from the organization and retreads in that regard.
No,
I do think that's probably far enough.
It's sufficiently far enough, and that's good. That's good, though. Yes. They need people like this. They need perspectives like this. Tony Bennett falls into brand new voice, brand new perspective, and I love that. He also, too, has a lot of experience in identifying and developing players that frankly don't have the traits that Rob Pelinka generally values most, whether you're talking about defense first type players, whether you're talking about dirty work players, whether you're talking about the guys who don't do the flashiest, often star making stuff, but are dead ass essential for a championship team and to build a roster that is fully balanced and can do a lot of different things. These are the areas where I think Rob Pelinka, especially over the last 3 or 4 years, his track record has been spotty at best.
I think I'll disagree with you there a little bit, just in the idea that I bet if you asked Rob, do you care about those things? I'm sure he would say yes. I think he has a problem in identifying the players that can provide it, and also be able to function in the rest of it, like being able to dig deeper and figure out which of these skill sets will translate in a way that I can actually use this player.
Okay, well, regardless of how Rob would either plead his case or spin his case, the last 3, 4, 5 years, his track record here has been spotty. Regardless of what the reason is, he clearly needs help. This is a step in getting him more help with that stuff.
Absolutely. I will say, I know the fear of retreads is well earned. And this is going to sound callous. They've been such an insular organization for so long. There aren't that many people with, those quote unquote, like deep ties to the Lakers they can even turn to at this point. Mark Walter doesn't really have that. I know people talk about the Rosen thing as that's a red flag. I see that it's not. It's 100% bringing the Dodgers culture to the Lakers. That 100%. So I don't worry about that in the slightest. Here's the thing that will disappoint fans. The process that Mark Walter went, a lot of Lakers fans, because this offseason coming is so significant, really can't be overstated how important it is. Lakers fans, especially those who really don't trust Rob, want sweeping change. They want Rob gone. They don't want Rob to be put in charge of building out the department that Rob is going to run. Even if Rob ultimately now has a boss that will fire him. Jeanie probably wouldn't have. Mark Walter will. I have no doubt about that. But the process that the Dodgers went through when Walter and the Guggenheim Group hired the team was a deliberate one. My read is that they're taking a similar approach here to where, this is a really significant offseason, but we are building for the long term. You hear Andrew Friedman talk about this all the time. Like, the process here is designed to be sustainable over the long term. And so I'm sure Walter understands this is a big offseason. It matters. But more important, I think, to him, because he's not planning on owning the team for a year, 2 years, 5 years. It's a 10-year investment, a 15-year investment, a 20-year investment. That, my read, is the timeline that they are going to be using with this offseason. And so Pelinka is going to be in charge, and they're going to build it out. If they were going to be rid of Rob Pelinka, they would have done it already, because there's too much other stuff going on to, sort of run your GM out of town at the end of the year, right before all this. So I think ultimately, if from a process standpoint, that's probably better, but it is going to be, cross your fingers, white knuckle territory for Lakers fans to see if Pelinka can really, at the very least, make really strong positive steps in what I think will be a couple-year process to building a true championship contender around Luka.
Look, anybody expecting Rob Pelinka to be fired before this summer, I am guessing, if not predicting, pretty strongly, you're going to be disappointed. So put that to the side. It's unlikely to happen.
It would take a catastrophe.
You just have to accept that, is what I'm saying. You have to accept that. If your but to all of this is, but I want Rob Pelinka fired, then this is pointless. Like, you might as well just wait until that happens. But for the time being, this is what it's going to be.
Yeah,
what matters, though,
I'd be surprised. Yeah,
right.
For sure.
So would I. But what matters, though, is who is put around Rob to help empower Rob to do the best job possible, to, in a lot of ways, hold Rob to a higher account, because there becomes fewer excuses for not landing on the right people. There are fewer buffers in terms of the people that would maintain his job safety. And I think there is more of an opportunity for him to do a better job. I think you are correct that they're looking at this from anywhere from this offseason to a 20-year long view in terms of what they want to turn the franchise into. But it doesn't change the fact that this offseason is extremely important. Right. And the goal should be, I've said this before, I do not think, I'd be happily wrong, I would be surprised if by the end of this offseason, the Lakers are transformed into inner circle contenders. For me, the standard is, are they better? Does the roster seem more logically shaped around Luka Doncic? Do you see a plan and a vision? If the answer to all of those questions is yes, Rob did good work. If the answer to that is no, then Mark Walter and the people that he trusts most need to be asking some serious questions about Rob Pelinka's future. But you have to accept all that's going to be happening over the next month or next few months through the prism of Rob Pelinka will likely be the one guiding it. You just have to accept this.
Locked on Lakers on YouTube is where you can hang out with over 37,000 subscribers to the channel. Of course, the Lakers playing Thursday night against the Suns. Huge game. We'll be there to recap it all when it's over. We'll see you then.